All right. I believe that we are live on Facebook and YouTube. How you feel about that, Bern?
Oh, Facebook and YouTube. You didn't tell me that.
That's right. I know I feel rusty. I feel like I gotta shake it off a little bit.
You've been on vacation for too long, Dan. I think that's what's happened.
That's true. That's true. So for anyone out there watching, thank you for watching, whether it's live or not. At any point in time, you can throw your comments in the comment section below, and we will respond to you. And my name is Steve. Go ahead.
Keep going. No, I was gonna say, if you could, let us know if you can hear us. Make sure the volume is good. We're not, talking over each other.
Yes, if anyone could just put in the comments section that you can hear us fine, that would be fantastic. My name is Dan Parker. If you don't know me, I'm a San Diego real estate agent, and next to me, this strapping young gentleman, Bern McGovern. Welcome.
Thank you. I'll be here all night.
Partner? Can I say business partner yet? Is that allowed?
Sure. Yeah. Let's go for it.
Well, this is the first time we mention it. We are officially business partners as well. So we have all sorts of fun things in the works. We're constantly putting out information about living in San Diego, buying and selling in San Diego, and looking forward to all the things that we have planned in the future.
Yeah, we're just going to keep putting out content for you guys. Hopefully you guys enjoy it and give you as much information as we can get about living in San Diego.
Yep. All right. So they can hear us. So that's a good thing.
Good.
So today, the main topic, so when we do these lives, for one, we're going to talk about what it's like buying and selling a house right now, because, I mean, this last year has been crazy. It's been changing nonstop. So you're going to hear from us. We've been on the ground. We've put in, I mean, between the two of us, hundreds of offers this year. We've literally written hundreds of offers.
Too many, it feels like.
Too many offers this year. And we're definitely going to talk about that. But we also want to talk about Zillow. Zillow announced some pretty major things. They are completely pulling out their iBuyer program from San Diego and nationwide. And it's not temporary. It's a long-term thing. They're going to completely pull that out. So we're going to talk about what that means, if that is an indicator for what's going to happen in the market, or if that's just something specific with Zillow. So I'm excited to hear about your opinions with that as well, Bern.
Sure, yeah. Let's get into it.
All right. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to start by looking at some news articles talking about the Zillow thing. While we're doing that, write your questions below, or at least let us know where you're watching from so we can start chatting with you guys.
Yeah, I'm always curious to see how many people are out of town or local to San Diego, and if you're in San Diego, what part too. So
that's right. Okay, so here it is, for sale, Zillow Homes. Now, before we get into exactly what happened, how about we just talk a little bit about our experiences with Zillow this year, because both you and I have put in offers on Zillow Homes, and I think you just put some offers in on Zillow Homes. Is that right?
Yeah, I actually have two clients putting in offers on two different Zillow homes, not the same home. Mm-hmm. One up in down in Scripps Ranch, and one down south a little bit too. So they do it a little differently. You can put an offer in on the regular purchase agreement, that California Association of Realtors purchase agreement, but they don't use the California Association of Realtors purchase. So you send it in on there, and then they kind of just rewrite your offer on their own purchase contract, which is relatively similar. Except for like the contingency periods, they're active contingencies versus passive contingencies, which means what in our purchase agreement, you have 10-day inspection period. On theirs, you can have 10-day inspection period, but then it expires right at that 10th day. With ours, you have to physically sign a form that says you're releasing your inspection contingency. So that's kind of like probably the biggest difference between the contracts. Have you noticed anything differently than that, Dan?
Yeah, I have. Well, but I wanted to ask. So, Bern, you've been doing real estate for a while. How many contracts have you written that were not with the California Association of Realtors purchase agreement?
I've never written one that wasn't on one, but I have received one that was a guy wrote it on a Word document. And he was a lawyer, and it was all the whole thing was just in his favor, like every single thing on it. I was like, okay, well, this is not the way we do it. And I presented it to the seller anyways, and they're like, I don't know what this is. So that's the only time I've ever seen it not on a California Association.
Very interesting. But yes. I just wanted to start off by letting people know that aren't in real estate, it is extremely irregular to not use this standardized document. It allows us as real estate agents to easily go through and dissect it and tell you exactly what's in there without there being any surprises. So the fact that Zillow had their lawyers write up a very specific purchase agreement is already like a red flag as a buyer. And honestly, I have a hard time thinking that didn't have an effect on ultimately what ended up happening with them. But yeah. Same Same thing.
Yeah.
If you run
Like a
into
lot
it,
of the other companies will use the California. I'm not. Does Open Door use the RPA? I don't residential purchase agreement, or they have their own thing too.
I don't know that I've put an offer in on an Open Door property. I've visited some before, but I don't know
Yeah,
that
I've visited, but we never put one on one. I mean, I think the biggest reason why Zillow, I'm not sure if we're jumping ahead to this, but the reason
why
why
don't you say what happened first?
what happened. So Zillow just announced last week that they are no longer in the home buying business.
Mm-hmm.
So this was kind of like the big news with them. Like, when did this start? Like a year ago, kind of pretty heavy in the middle of the pandemic. They started buying homes at a rapid pace, and they were buying homes at much higher. They're basically using their algorithm to buy houses. And apparently, and everybody kind of relies on the Zestimate. It's like, oh, my house is worth this because the Zestimate tells me so. I feel like this should be a big lesson for people to know that the Zestimate is not a very good way to value your home, because there's 100 different things that go into the value of your home. And Zillow thought they could make an algorithm that would tell them what the price of their home is. And clearly, by the way this worked for them, they were way overpaying for houses in different neighborhoods, and it was working for a little while because prices were going up and up and up and up, and they're still going up. But I think the prices they were even paying, no one would actually have paid those prices. So this is what has led to where they are now, which is they overpaid by 10-15% in some cases. So and now they have to shut down the system because they have so many listings, none of them are selling. They're pretty much, I think what's like 90% of their homes are for selling for less than what they bought them for, and like considerably less, not even like a little bit.
In San Diego County, 94.3% of their homes.
That is not a good home buying strategy, in my opinion.
And they do get a 6% ish fee. So that, like, there are some other. They are getting money like in other directions. It's not just the purchase price, but there's also a lot of costs associated with selling the house as well. So even if they sell it for $1 million, they're going to be paying, I mean, at least 3% in closing costs, commissions, even if that's a really, really low rate. Probably more than that, probably more like 5%. So yeah, it's crazy. And here's the crazy thing, Bern, is the market, it's still a seller's market. Homes are still selling over asking a majority of the time. And they still lost $500 million in this program because they were relying on the algorithms, and they had these very, very, very aggressive numbers that they were trying to hit about how many properties they wanted to purchase. And that became so important that they lost sight of the fact that they actually needed to make money on some of these. It's crazy.
I think in the early days they were making money on some of them, but then it kind of caught up to them eventually, because I actually know someone in my neighborhood actually sold their investment condo down near San Diego State, I think it was. And he's like, listen, all the comps said my place was worth, just hypothetically, 500, and they bought it for like 580. Like there was nothing that could justify a 580 price, but for some reason, Zillow thought it was justified to buy it at that price. So it's just, it's a bad algorithm. You can't use an algorithm to buy houses because there's just like, there's views, there's like how much light does it get? You can't tell that from just looking at numbers. So
100%.
They never had anybody really walk through these houses, I feel like, just because there was no reason why they were selling for what they were selling for, what they were buying for. So
there were some great opportunities for both buyers and sellers because of Zillow this year. And we both have heard plenty of stories of people that sold their house for way more than market value because that's what Zillow offered. So it's very interesting to see what's happening here. Market unpredictably forces Zillow offers to fold. I would say it's more than just the market, because there are plenty of institutional buyers out there that are still having a tremendous amount of success, and they're still buying at crazy rates because they believe the market's going to continue to go up. Here's what I want to know, Bern. Zillow is up to like $103 a share. And I have to preface by saying we are not giving financial advice, but I'm curious, for you specifically, Bern, you're looking at this. Their stock price was up to 103. Now it's down to, it's almost half. Is this a buy, Bern?
I probably would buy it, actually. I mean, obviously not financial advice, but I think they're going to figure out other ways to do what they want to do and do it correctly. The Zillow offers thing was not, I mean, maybe they just reorganize that event and not rely on an algorithm to buy houses, and they do it the right way. So I think even Open Door probably does it a better way than these guys have been doing it. So I wouldn't count them out by any means. And if I kind of like when stocks drop that much, especially if it's usually a well-run company up until this little snafu they had that cost them lots and lots of money. But I definitely wouldn't count them out, and I would not be surprised if that stock price a year from now is back up to closer to where it was, just a month ago.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think ultimately this is a smart decision for them. They have so much money. They're not going anywhere. They're just going to continue growing. So I think that there's plenty of opportunity for them. And the other thing I keep seeing is, maybe this is a sign that the market is crashing. Maybe this is a sign that the market is changing. And I don't see that either. Right? There are too many institutional buyers out there that are still buying like crazy and still think it's a fantastic time to buy homes and are still making a ton of money. So just
paid way too much money for them. They just didn't make any sense. I mean, everyone kind of is overpaying a little bit in this market, and they paid like a lot more for sometimes really crummy homes, to be honest. So
yeah, I agree.
And they would basically just put some lipstick on it. They would paint the place sometimes, and sometimes they did nothing to the properties and just tried to resell them. I'm like, it was just, and then maybe it's just the more recent ones they've been doing that, because I think earlier days they were kind of fixing them up a little bit. And then this last couple months, they stopped doing it, probably because they saw the writing on the wall that this wasn't working. So they didn't want to throw any more money at it, but who knows? I think
it's a mix of things there. You brought up a very good point as well, that they stopped doing as much work to actually flip these homes and make them, sell for more money. They also said that part of it's just because there's a labor shortage. They had a hard time getting contractors, which is also another factor for sure.
Yeah,
it sounds great to flip 70,000 homes this year. Was that the plan? 7,000?
It was a lot. I don't know the exact number, but it was definitely.
But that's a lot of contractors in a lot of different places that are right now tied up doing other things. So that absolutely had a factor on it as well. I came across this, thought that was pretty interesting. Renters missed out on $51,000 in equity this year. I was listening to a podcast that was talking about how your primary residence is not an investment, and it's a really great book. I actually highly recommend it. But they were talking. That's one thing that is said where I'm like, I get where you're coming from, but like in San Diego specifically, it's way more than $51,000 in equity. The market went up 20% in the last 12 months. The median home is $850,000. So, I mean, you're missing out on well over $100,000 in equity by not being a homeowner this last year. That's very daunting for people that want to be first-time home buyers. But it's a very real realization that if you want to live in San Diego long-term, you're finding a way to be able to get your roots down and buy some property is probably a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, it's not always going to be like that every year, but I think the long-term prospects of San Diego are pretty high, in my opinion. So whether you bought now or you bought 5 years ago, or 50 years ago.
Well, speaking of the up and up with San Diego, 3 of San Diego zip codes make the list of the nation's most expensive real estate. How do you feel about that?
I'm not surprised. Is it La Jolla? Probably Rancho Santa Fe.
So, let me give you the specifics. So, out of 100 zip codes across the U.S., there are 3 that San Diego made the list on. So, Bern, I want to know, what are the 3 and how do they rank on the list of 100?
What are the 3? So it's one of the La Jolla zip codes, probably off of Prospect or one of those ones there. Rancho Santa Fe. And Del Mar.
Yeah, you're forgetting a real big one, but you came very close. So obviously, Rancho Santa Fe with a median price home of $3,399,000. Now, for those of you that don't know about Rancho Santa Fe, this is like these aren't just homes; these are estates.
Yeah, they're huge,
huge property in a really desirable place in San Diego, and like if you wanted a multi-acre estate that is fenced in and have security guards and people living on your property that are cleaning for you and cooking for you, that's where you would do it in San Diego. Have you done a lot of business over there in Rancho Santa Fe, Bern?
I've done a few, not a ton, but maybe like in the last 2 years, maybe 2 of them, 2 properties.
It's a very interesting area. I mean, there's not a lot of houses being sold over there, but yeah, very, very interesting.
Yeah, it's a high price point. Oh, Coronado, dang.
Yeah, that's the one. When I was looking at this too, I'm like, you forget about Coronado. It's like
I know it's all tucked away down there. I always forget about it there.
Yeah. Oh, and so I forgot to mention, Rancho Santa Fe was the 18th most expensive zip code, and then it goes to Coronado, which is the 63rd most expensive zip code, with a median price home of $1.94 million. And then the third is going to be Del Mar's 92014. So actually, La Jolla didn't even make the cut.
I'm actually surprised by that. I thought La Jolla would have been ahead of those.
So this is for $1.85 million, and this is number 74. So what's interesting to me, Bern, is the fact that we only have three. There's a lot of zip codes in San Diego. People complain about San Diego being expensive. It is very expensive, but we still have plenty of opportunity for growth when you're looking at nationwide wealth.
Yeah,
I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, I thought there would have been honestly more places on that list, but I mean, there's a lot more expensive places than San Diego, apparently. Like LA, New York, San Francisco, Seattle, even
Washington D.C.
Yeah, for sure.
So
that's interesting.
And for those of you guys that are watching, feel free to throw a question in the comments section. We are going to be going through a couple more items here. We're going to be talking about the market, and then we're going to start answering some questions. So whatever questions you have burning about San Diego, the housing market, anything you guys want to know, let us know.
Oh, sure.
I thought this was pretty interesting. Tech salaries are on the rise, just not in New York or San Francisco. So tech jobs in San Diego are actually on the rise. And I believe it said up by like 50% in San Diego County. 9.1%, largest increase in the country.
Oh, so wow. I'm not surprised by that because I've helped a lot of tech people move down from the Bay Area, from Texas, from Chicago. I have Google, Apple employees, Airbnb, Netflix. Quite a bit of tech jobs have been floating down to here to San Diego. So I am not surprised. I thought it might even be higher than that. So
yeah, there's a lot of the big players are moving some offices down to San Diego. Apple, Google, I'm blanking on the other ones. I think Uber. But yeah, there's a lot of opportunity in San Diego for tech jobs. It's nice to see that wages are going up there. As far as like inflation and everything else that's going on, I would like to see a lot of other jobs increasing by that much as well. But hey, at least we got something.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it's a good thing for San Diego.
Yeah. This I just thought was interesting. We're getting to the end of these articles here. That renting an apartment in Southern California is about to get a lot more expensive. So yes,
more expensive.
Prices, renting, yeah. So I think a lot of people are surprised when they're looking to move to San Diego and they're looking at renting and they're having a really hard time. They have a hard time securing something. They can't believe how expensive it is. And the reality is we have a supply issue in San Diego. It's not just for buying a house, but it's for renting a house. And so the price of buying a house has gone up and the price of renting a house has gone up and is going to continue to go up over the next couple of years. And in this article specifically, what they believe is going to happen is there will be a $348 average rental price increase from what you're seeing today. And that's by the third quarter of 2023.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's I mean, I know rents. I mean, the rental market, especially where I am, is like insanity as far as people are overbidding rental prices, which is not something you normally would see in a rental market. It's been, tough. I actually see somebody in the comments, Samuel Palmieri, he's trying to move from Tampa, Florida. He's contacted me. We spoke, and actually owe you a phone call, Samuel, so don't think I forgot about you. But the rental market here is challenging, and it's hard to get anything. Like, what's the lowest price one bedroom apartment you could find here in a decent area in San Diego?
One bedroom apartment, man, I don't even know. Like, right around 2,000 would be my guess.
Yeah, I mean, like a studio, maybe you can get for like 1,500 possibly, and then one bedrooms 18, 19, 2,000, something like that for one bedroom. So, it's a tough rental market out there for it. Oh, by the way, I have a 6-month rental in La Jolla if anybody's looking for a minor cost of $5,500. So. Ocean View in La Jolla. Anybody want it? Let me know.
How much is it?
$5,500.
Yep. But that's, I mean, if you want to live by the beach, if you want to have that type of lifestyle, it's not cheap.
Yeah, for sure.
So Ahmed is saying that the the median price, or what he's seeing for a cheap one-bedroom studio, is around $2,200. I mean, I'm not surprised by that. Depending on where you're looking, right? I mean, there are cheaper parts of San Diego. If you were to go up to San Marcos, Escondido, La Mesa, El Cajon, Chula Vista, you're going to find more affordability. But if you want to be central, then that's probably what you're going to be paying.
Yeah, I would agree.
And now that we are chatting with some people, we're going to get into market update, but let's see if we have some questions here. All right, Patrick, what percentage of your buyers and sellers are back to normal in terms of completing inspection and appraisal contingencies?
Like keeping them in place, is that what he's asking, really?
Yeah, I think that's what he's saying. Yeah, so for me, I'll tell you this. As a buyer's agent, what I'm suggesting my buyers write into contracts. A year ago, I was telling every single person, if you want to have any opportunity of getting this home, you 100% have to waive your appraisal. And that was just like, that just has to happen. Right now, it's a little bit different. I would say that, in most, or maybe 50% of the time, I'm not needing to do that. But sellers still want it a lot. And if you do have competition, you do know that there are other offers coming in, then a lot of times you're going to have to do it. The inspection contingency, it's very rare, even when the market was crazy, that I would waive it altogether. But different agents have different strategies. What do you think on that, Brent?
Yeah, I would say you definitely have to do it less than you used to. Like you said, like in the spring and summer, you had like zero chance of getting it without waiving at least your appraisal. Now I would say it's case by case, but I would say, yeah, probably at least 50% of the time you'll have to do it. It depends. If you somehow this house made it through 2 weekends without getting offers on it, you can keep your appraisal in place. But if you have 5 offers on there, the chances of at least half of those people willing to waive their appraisal is probably pretty high. So like, again, it just kind of just depends. But if it's a very popular property and everybody wants it, they're not going to willing to accept an offer that hasn't at least waived their appraisal contingency. And some people will waive a lot more than that. So that's the problem. You don't always have to be the highest offer. If you're the highest offer and you keep your appraisal contingency in place, they're still not going to choose you. So, and I know that does make a lot of sense sometimes, but like if it doesn't appraise and you have a way to back out of it, then they're like, okay, your offer isn't real, they say sometimes, if you do it that way. So, but again, it's a case-by-case basis.
Yeah, and it just depends. I mean, more often than not, if I'm advising one of my clients, or even when I sold my own house, if we got in an offer that waived the appraisal and then we had offers that did not, I would generally accept more money for that offer that waived the appraisal. Again, it just depends. Like if I'm looking at the comparable properties that just recently sold, and I don't really have much of a worry that it's going to appraise properly, then I wouldn't be as concerned. But we're still in this weird situation in this market where homes are still selling a little bit above what you think they're worth or what they should be sold for, because you're looking at data that's a couple months old. So yeah, I would say that that's happening a lot. And if you find a house that you really, really like and it's the very first weekend, a lot of times you probably should waive the appraisal.
Yeah, if you can. If you can't make up the difference in appraisal, then you can't really waive the appraisal. So, and then they'll see that too. Like if you have to supply proof of funds and it shows you can only pay the down payment. I mean, there are slightly flexible options there. You can put less down payment and then use that, say you were going to do 20%, you changed it to 15%. Now you have a 5% to play with as far as appraisal goes. There are ways. Talk to your lender about that, because you might have some flexibility in there. But I know some people only want to put 20% down. That's not always the only option, too. So there are ways to get creative on that. And, that's a little more in-depth conversation we can get into if you guys ever have questions about it.
Yeah, talk to your lender, talk to your agent. There definitely are ways that you can get crafty around this stuff. So don't think it's just a yes or no answer. If you can't waive appraisal, then there are some strategies that we can utilize to still make your offer look good and compete against other offers that maybe did waive appraisal.
Sure, yeah.
Ahmed, wish he bought last year. Hindsight is 20/20, my man.
I think a lot of people do.
Yep.
Although you might say the same thing again next year if you don't buy now too. So like, I wish I would have bought this year. So
100%, and I think that's going to be the case. I don't see that changing anytime soon. Which maybe is a good segue, Bern. Let's talk about the market. How do you feel about that?
Let's do it.
So tell me, before we really dive into these numbers here, what has your experience been over the last couple of weeks? We're in November now, closing out on 2021.
My experience is that I'm tired.
Well, there's that for sure.
It's just, it's still a lot of, I would say it's not quite as busy as it was in the spring and summer, but it's still moving very strong. There's still multiple offers on almost on every property that is relatively in good shape. Like if it shows well, it's staged, it's move-in ready, those ones, I would say 95% of the time will have multiple offers on them. And the ones that have like really good yards, backyards that are, big pool, like a lot of space, you're not right on top of your neighbor, those ones always are very, very popular. I have one client that's trying to buy one up in North County, like San Marcos, Carlsbad area. We put an offer on one, it was listed at 1.3. We offered 1,475, and then they countered 4 of us. We offered 1.5 with someone who went up to 1.55. So that's 250 grand over asking. Granted, I knew it was going to go for at least 1.45 because they underpriced it to get the multiple offer crazy bid thing. Which is a lot of people are doing that. Like you like if your budget's 1.5, look at the houses that are 1.3 or 1.4. Because if you're looking at 1.5 when 1.5 comes on the market, you're probably not going to be able to get it unless they completely overpriced it for whatever reason. But most people are purposely just underpricing it to create this huge feeding frenzy on it. And it's a little bit exhausting because I'm like, okay, they could have at least listed that one at 1.4, not 1.3. It's had the same effect. So now they had 11 offers. They only counted 4 of them because there's only really 4 real offers on it. So I don't know if they just want to show off to their sellers. Like, oh, we got you 11 offers. I'm like, yeah, my 8-year-old could get you 11 offers. You listed it that way.
Well, I mean, they're also trying to do things like they're trying to get better terms too. They're not just trying to get the best price. They're trying to get better terms. They're trying to get people to waive the appraisal, and they're trying to get them to be more aggressive with their offer in other ways than reduce price.
I mean, it's working, I guess. So, I mean, it's just frustrating to the other 11 people trying to get a house when there was going to go nowhere near that price. So,
yeah, for sure. All right. So, as far as the market, I remember a couple months ago, I was looking at this, and median sale price for a detached property was 30%. It was like 30.4% year over year. So that's down a little bit to 19%. And what we're looking at here, this is year over year. So this is, and you can see on these graphs down here, obviously it shot up a lot in this last year, but the reality is it's definitely started to slow down in the last couple months. And the next slide I'll show you, we'll show you a little bit more about that. But it's still a hot market. We have properties going for, median home price is $849,000. Bern, let's put on record. When do you think median home in San Diego is going to hit $1 million?
Well, so 2020 was 825. Was that right? Was that what it was for 2025? Or 2020?
Wait, sorry, say this again.
The median home price in 2020 was 825, I think, right?
Well, it depends. It depends what you're looking at. So this is just detached properties.
That's what I mean. The detached ones were. I think at the beginning of the 2021, it was 825. Now it's 849 in 2021, as up to this date. Correct.
The beginning of 2021, I think it was $800,000.
Okay, gotcha. So it's 849 now. I would say it's probably going to be 875 by the end of the year. Maybe even higher, actually. What month are we in now?
That we only have a month and a half left.
Oh, we have a month. It's November. I don't even know what month it is anymore. I still think it's gonna be higher. Maybe not 875. I would say 870. I'm gonna say
870. All right. Yeah. I think, but you didn't answer my original question. When is it going to hit?
What was it?
When is median home going to hit $1 million in San Diego?
Oh, when is it going to? They are projecting that to happen.
Yeah.
I would say 2023.
2023. All right. Yeah, I'm going to say
2023. I would say summer 2023.
I'm going to say Q1 2023. So we'll put that in the red book. Are you writing this down, Bern?
I'm writing it down. No, I'm not.
Okay, so that was year over year data. Now I just wanted to show you month by month. So this tells a little bit different of a story. So for San Diego County, the median home price, you can see this has gone up, shot up in 2020. shot up like crazy in 2021.
Yeah.
And then over the last couple months, so technically, as far as this data is concerned, May of 2021, we were at the exact same median price that we are today. It's basically flat line.
Yeah.
But being on the street and actually submitting offers, I think, we would tell a different story, Bern, because I know that a majority of the homes that I put offers on were buying over asking. Now we've got a couple accepted under asking, but a lot of them, like you said, they're going really fast. Most of the homes that people are fighting over are those beautifully maintained homes that you walk in and it just feels like a model home. Well, those are still getting bid up like crazy. But there are some homes that people are maybe settling with, or have been on. They wait till they've been on the market a couple of weeks, and they're getting them at asking or maybe even under asking price.
Yeah, I have a client that's trying to buy a Zillow owned home right now, and I think it's an incredible value if he gets it at the price that he wants. It's a fixer, but the ones that were move-in ready were selling for, like, if he gets it at this price, almost $175,000 more than this one is. I'm not going to tell you which one it is because I don't want anybody else to buy it.
Just tell me after, Bern.
Yeah, I'll tell you after. If he gets it, I will let everyone know. But right now, there are diamonds in the rough out there. I mean, especially the ones, like you said, the ones that are move-in ready, beautiful, huge lots or whatever it is. That's kind of driving the market. The ones that are fixers that people don't want to have to deal with, or the lot's bad, or whatever it is, it just needs some TLC. Those are ones where you can find value if you're willing to put in some work. I just have so many clients that they just want everything that's moving ready. Like, oh, we don't want to do that unless it's just paint or something. I'm like, I mean, then you have to bid against all these other people. It's just, we have the contractors, we have the painters, we have the handyman. If you guys need it, then use your realtor to help you fix up a place. It's going to be a way better value in the long run, in my opinion. But
this is also a good note for people that are selling their house. Before you put a house on the market, have someone come in and actually analyze what you should upgrade. Like, maybe it's worth putting in some luxury vinyl flooring for a couple $1,000s and get significantly more money for your property. So Bern and myself, we can help you out with those types of things.
Yeah, then be better than Zillow. They're not fixing their houses up at all, and they look terrible. Better. So just be better.
Yeah, and we have contractors that will actually show up, so that's good.
Yeah, for sure.
So, talking about what's going to happen with the market moving forward, prices are starting to flatline a little bit, but I think this is really important to see. So this is looking at month supply of inventory in San Diego County. And yes, we are past the craziest part of the market of a year ago that, we're constantly having to put in offers $200,000 plus over asking and occasionally not getting them accepted.
Sure.
But we're looking at month supply of inventory. To get month supply of inventory, you have to figure out how many homes are currently available on the market and how many homes are closing on average per month, and you divide one from the other. And that way you know how much inventory is left. Do you have 5 days of inventory? Do you have a month of inventory? Do you have 2 months of inventory? If nothing else hit the market today, how long would it take to blow out the rest of the inventory? Sure. So this is one of the best things to look at when you're looking at what a market is doing and if it's a buyer or seller's market. A neutral market, I've always been told, is around 3 months of inventory is a neutral or more of a neutral market. And right now we're at the lowest that we've been in San Diego County, at least in the last, I think this is going for the last 3 years.
Yeah, this is also seasonal too. Like November, December typically are like lower inventory months, but this is like more than usual because it's been low inventory all year. So that's not that surprising that it's low right now.
Yeah, you can see the dips here, December 2019, December 2018. It's really easy to pick out the end of the year because there's less inventory, but there's also fewer buyers out there.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are like, oh, we're just going to wait till 2022 to start looking at houses again because holidays, people are on vacations and spending time with their families, and no one really wants to move like around the holidays typically too. So unless they have to.
So anyway, it's really important to know. It's not getting any easier. There is an inventory shortage. It's a major issue. It's not going anywhere. So don't wait for the market to crash. Don't wait for things to get better. The market's going to continue going up. That's my personal opinion. I think Bern would agree with me on that.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, let's see if we have any more questions. If you are listening live, we're going to get to questions right now, so make sure to throw them in the comments section. Let's see. Patrick wants to know how many bedrooms are in your La Jolla rental, Bern?
It's just two bedroom, 2 bath in La Jolla, 7059 Draper Avenue. This is the address. Okay. I can put that.
All right. Yeah, throw it in the. Can you throw it in the comments? Throw it in the comments.
Right in the comments. Can I not do that from here? I don't think I can.
I think you can do it. All right. How's the market towards El Cajon and Santee? Are these areas seeing investment growth in this tight renters market? Yeah, I mean, there are. Here's the thing. There's not a lot of like land to grow on, so there are some really small developments. There aren't like big master plan communities, but there is some new construction that is kind of on the smaller side. So maybe 20 to 50 units max, something like that. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I think we're just going to continue to see as San Diego gets more and more popular, as rents go up, as housing costs go up, you're going to see it start to get nicer farther and farther out. That's just it's what happens. What have you seen, Bert?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely similar. I mean, that usually happens when people get priced out of, like, say, Carmel Valley, pushes over to where I live, like Rancho Penasquitos, Torrey Islands. So, and then when that gets too expensive, then it pushes out even like to Carmel Mountain Ranch, Poway, Santee, some areas like that. So even up in the North County, like San Marcos was affordable for a while. It's becoming less affordable. Now people are pushing over to Vista. And as that happens, this doesn't always happen, but like when it gets, prices start to go up there, the schools end up getting a little bit better. It kind of is a snowball effect in there too. So if I think Vista is probably one of the more underrated places right now up in North County. Escondido to an extent too, but Vista is just farther west. So I think the farther west you can go, I've had a couple people buy in Vista this year, and it's definitely paid off for them. So yeah, if you're looking for a decent place at a reasonable price range, I would check out Vista.
Vista, I think Oceanside as well.
Oceanside too, yeah.
Getting up to the ocean, there's some fair affordability for San Diego, and I think that it's a prime opportunity for an investment.
Sure, yeah.
Are these Zillow-owned homes the one that have been listed and removed 10 times in 3 years? What's your experience?
Probably, yeah. You'll see a lot of price reductions on those Zillow homes. If you look at all those, they're all dropping in price because they paid way too much money. Although some of them I think are reasonably priced now. So, yeah. And if you want to look for Zillow homes, just go on Zillow, and then I think sorry, there's a bug flying in here. You can just search Zillow-owned homes on there, so it's an easy way to find them on there.
Yep. Yeah, I agree, and I think it's not necessarily just Zillow-owned homes, but a lot of what I tend to see are the flipped properties. They'll do those types of tricks where they'll actually take the home off of the MLS, put it back on the MLS, so that it looks like it's a new property, so it hits everyone's search criteria again as being on the market for one day, and they pretend like people can't go in and actually see that it's been on the market 12 times in the last 3 years. That happens a lot, and we're definitely seeing it right now. I've seen it more and more right now where you have these beautifully remodeled homes that look like they're pretty much at a good value, but then they're sitting on the market for a couple of weeks before they get a couple offers.
Yeah, that happens. Not real estate agents do that too. So.
Yeah. All right. That underpricing has been my experience recently. Yep. There you go, Bern.
Yeah, I mean, I just seen this so many times. I just know, like, oh, this one was listed at $950. I'm like, it's going to go for at least $1,050,000, and it went for $1,080,000. So it's just, I don't know if they're just trying to create the bidding wars, like you said, and it's just annoying because but you just kind of go right up to the number, you know where it's going to go, because everyone's like, the comp that just sold next door to it sold for $1,050,000. It's clearly not going to go for $950,000. So
yeah, I agree. All right, Bern, we got to wrap this thing up. Do you have any last thoughts?
I would say I'm looking forward to the market not being so crazy in 2022, but I have a feeling I don't think it's going to be as bad as 2021. I think we said the prices came up 24% in 2020. I think it's probably going to, before I was saying it's going to be maybe 7 to 10%, but I think it still could be like 10 to 12% increase. So like half of it was like last year is my guess. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. Well, it's tough to say another year like this year because the year started off so rocky. The first couple months were so bonkers, and then it mellowed out. Like if it continues the way it is right now, if we had 12 months of what it was the last couple months, then it would only just be a gradual increase of maybe like 7%. I like 7%. 7% year over year, I think is great. I think we're going to see 6% inflation over the next 12 months. Yeah. So I think I like like to see 7%. I think that's good. I think that's fine. We can get those types of.
I would be happy if it's less than 10% because it was unsustainable. I feel like the pace that it was going at before. So if we can be that 7 to 8, 9% or something, I think that'll be okay. I mean, it'll still price a lot of people out of the market even then. But one last question: do you ever see a pullback coming in the foreseeable future? Because I get this question like twice a day.
To see what?
Like prices come down.
Do I see prices come down in the market?
Yeah, anytime in the foreseeable future, like 2023, 2024.
I think I've said this a lot. I feel like a broken record, but coronavirus taught us that just about anything happened. So you can have any type of plans that you want. What I like to look at is I look at institutional investors. I look at people that are investing heavily in real estate. It is their job to try and predict real estate, and they've most of them, all the ones that I know of, they're investing more now than they've ever invested. So I think for the foreseeable future, which I believe is 12 to 18 months, I think real estate is still a great investment. Anything past that, it's hard to say. I mean,
anything can happen. Something else worse could happen 2 years from now, and then it could affect the housing market. But as of right now, things are progressing upward still. It's a little bit flatter right this time of year, but I'm curious to see what happens in the spring. I imagine the spring is going to be pretty busy. So that's my guess.
Well, I'll say this. I think I'll say this, Bern. By 2025, we'll be the second most expensive place in California.
Next to San Francisco. So we'll be higher than LA, is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then second to San Francisco.
I think we're on the trajectory. We need more. There's nothing being built. We need more things being built. We need more homes, more rentals. We need more things being built, and it's not happening. And you and I both know there's a lot of people that can work remote, and they want to live in a place that has great weather, which is San Diego.
That is true. I mean, obviously we're biased, but it's one of the best places to live for weather, for outdoor activities, for the beaches. I mean, some of the best beaches in the entire world are in San Diego, in my opinion. But I don't blame people for wanting to come here, obviously.
Well, Bern, I think that's all we have time for today. But as we always say, we're going to do these more regularly. I would love it if we could do it once a week, but we've been so crazy busy lately. We've had a hard time just trying to do anything. But that's the plan. We have a lot of good things in the works, and one day we will have weekly live videos.
That sounds like a plan.
Well, if you guys don't follow Bern, go check him out on YouTube, Off the 56. Or no, Living in San Diego. Living in San Diego is the handle.
They both show up. So.
Yep, the second best Moving to San Diego YouTube channel I've ever seen in my entire life.
Next to Jaycation. So
next to Jaycation.
Hopefully we get Jaycation on the show one of these days. I'm sure he doesn't watch any of these, but we can try.
Jaycation, we know you're watching, so our people are going to reach out to your people. We would love to have you on. And I think that's it. So thank you guys all very much for watching. If you're watching it, the replay, and you have any questions, please throw it down in the comment section. I promise you, Bern and myself will get in there and actually answer your questions as well. And if you have any ideas or for topics that you want us to discuss in the future, let us know. All right. Hope you guys have a good rest of your week. Thanks a lot.
See ya. Bye.